So today, guys, we've got another little treat in store. We're going to open the Charizard. Charizard Potential Shadowless, 21 grams, heavy base set pack. But it's Potential Shadowless. So the last one I opened was Shadowless, believe it or not. So yeah, it did have some nice, beautiful cards in it. Was a heavy pack, but it was didn't have a holo. So even though it was 21 grams O2, so I'm not expecting this one to have a holo either, because again they weigh the same, bought them off the same person, so it's very likely that this one doesn't have a holo either. But I'm still going to open it anyway for science, and just to see what the, if you opened them packs and didn't keep them, what the risk would be and what your potential downside would be, because I think it's important to understand when you're opening stuff, you can lose money on them as well. I'll obviously keep the cards, and I'll be aiming for some PSA 10s in the shadowless cards out of there, because I love them anyway. But so for me, it's a win-win either way. But even if they're unlimited, I'm still gonna probably get them graded and keep really good condition cards, because people always want near mint. So if you're pulling pack fresh, it's always going to be good. But these ones are, they're potential shadowless, because ultimately you've got, you know, you've got like the trading card game down the bottom here, and also you've got, the little cards sitting down there as well, which just indicates it's potentially shadowless. These are all from the, if you look on the back, they're all, I don't know if you can see that there with the camera, but there's basically a serial number on there, and that usually shows that it's like, depending on what it is, depends when it was. But I've pulled plenty of shadows from 06033. So it's one of those things that I love the artwork. It's about 900 quid, a grand's worth of pack, but ultimately sometimes it's worth a rip, because you never know what's going to be in it ultimately until you open it. You don't really know. So it's difficult to say. But for me, it's all in the element of science, and also to teach myself probably not to open packs, and the reason why. I've had a bit of luck with pulling Charizards and stuff like that, but I've always wanted to pull like a shadowless holo, which I haven't never done. So for me, it's something that I always, when I get something like that come up, I will probably rip them, even though that it could just be normal shadowless cards, and no normal rare, could be like a Pokemon trader, Pokemon breeder or something like that at the end. So no holo, but you got to be in it to win it. I just wanted to really get across to people that, I could lose money on the next 4 packs I open, for example, because you're still taking the risk at that level, that 21 grams and under. I've pulled a Charizard at 20.96, so you never know. But at the same time, it's unlikely, because people have had them. They know when they come out of the box, there's a certain element that will be light and heavy. So you're always taking a risk with loose packs. But I've had ones that I've pulled holos from, and I'm still pulling out shadowless cards now. So for me, I'm happy to keep the shadowless cards, worst case. But if you're not in a position where you would be happy with that, you're probably not going to make money on opening that pack. You're going to lose money, probably most definitely, if you're opening, a potential shadowless pack, which is like 50-50 chance. It's probably less than that for it to be shadowless. So then to try and get a shadowless and a holo, even at 21 grams, it's difficult, because people, believe it or not, people have pulled, say, like a decent holo at, 20 point, I think 20.9 or 20.87. Like there was a couple, but mainly if you're going below 2.8, 20.80 grams, it's going to be a light pack, which means it doesn't have a holo. And if you're going, above sort of 20.95 grams, it's in an older pack only. It's can have a holo at that sort of level, but it depends when it comes out of the box. When they do a box break, it depends how many of those and the grammage of them when they come out. But like I say, pulled at something at 20.96 before, pulled a nice Charizard out, so you really can't tell, because there's always variations in them, variations in the packaging. But it's all good fun. It's just really to advise people, don't go pulling packs, and don't go buying packs trying to think you're going to make money from it. Do it when you work towards something, make money that you then can put aside, and then you can, invest into your own personal collection. Like, I'm fine if all these packs I open, that I don't sell any of these cards. I literally just keep them, grade them, keep them, and it's an investment for me of my own collection. So eventually, yes, they'll go somewhere, but I'm not going to make money realistically on them. And if I get extremely lucky, so just bear that in mind if you're opening pack. Don't go and open a booster box if you can't afford to lose it and not open hardly anything, or even like a vintage heavy pack. Don't do it with the view thinking you're going to just make money and just I'm going to just pull a Charizard. You're not going to probably. It's very unlikely. So you never know. I said that in another video when I pulled something, but I want to let people know out there that don't just watch these YouTube and think just because you're ripping packs and they're ripping thousands, that's what you have to do. You could have just as much fun ripping a single pack that you've saved up for. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford packs. I loved collecting. That's why I'm into my vintage, and obviously I love the newer stuff now as well. But for me, I never had the money to open a pack when I was a kid, so I've had to work very hard to get to the position I'm in. That I've managed lots of businesses and had my own stuff, and I've got my own businesses now, and done a lot of work to get to where I am, where it's not going to affect me massively to do that. But that's not what I'd say for everyone to do. I'd just say only ever, rip what you can afford to rip for fun and expect zero. So then you can't be disappointed. If I go and park in an area and park my car somewhere that I know is a ticketing zone, every time I go and I don't pay the fee, I expect to get a ticket when I come back. So I could never be disappointed. I'm just pleased when I come back and I haven't got a ticket. But generally I try not to get in that game, so I'm paying up tickets all the time, so I'll just pay it. But that's what you got to think. If I'm going to open something like this, I'm expecting to pull an unlimited Pokemon breeder. That's what I'm expecting. So if it's shadowless, great. On this particular pack, I'll be happy. That's a win for me. And if there's a holo, great. That's another big win. But if it's not, I'm okay with it. I just want to explain to people: don't just go risking all your money. Don't go putting it all out there and thinking you're going to win big. You're lying to yourself. So don't do that. Just basically live within your means and do what you can. So without further ado, let's get it over and done with and see if we pull a Pokemon breeder or an imposter Professor Oak. That can be the rare sometimes. What I'm quite most glad about is when you get these from reliable sources, you're a lot of the time hopefully not getting scammed, because some of them over the years have been resealed and stuff like that. So you never really know unless you take it from the box yourself. It's very difficult to sell to see. But this is the Charizard pack art. A bit of history opening here, so feels good. But we'll see. I'll try not to win the surprise again. Good condition. So these have been kept well. So I'll look at the back and see if there's any sort of whitening on the edges and stuff like that. And this one looks good. And then I'll do the Patrick. So I'll do 1, 2, 3 from the front, and then put that to the back. But that if that was a holo at the back, I'd be happy with that because it's in good condition and stuff like that. So let's see what we've got. I think have we got unlimited or have we got shadowless? Let's have a look. What is that there? Oh, do you know what? I think I've been really lucky twice in a row. That is shadowless. Shadowless again. Let's go. I'm loving pulling these shadowless pack, and that's the thing. So for me, I've won. Relevant of a holo. For me, I'm collecting shadowless. I'm okay. I'm good with that. That's why having a personal collection is so important, to collect what you're, if you're opening something, you'll collect it. Worst case, if it's not going to make any money, then you're fine with collecting what's coming out of it. So it's a good looking pack. The edges are clean and stuff like that. So I'm good with the Squirtle as a first starter. So let's see what we can do. So we've got a Squirtle, got Drowsy. Don't have that one yet. So that's a new one for me as well. I'm good with that. Fire Energy. I don't think I've got a shadowless Fire Energy either, so that'd be interesting. They've just got a little 99 down the bottom there as well, so just so you can see the difference. Shadowless are that much rarer. I might have done the Patrick wrong here, because this could be the holo. Unless this is resealed, the holo should be behind here. Do you know what? I'm going to do it. I think I've done the Patrick backwards. This should be the rare, so I'm good with it either way. Super energy removal. That is the rare. So it wasn't a holo. It was a super energy removal. I haven't got that one either, so that's another good one for me. but I'm good with that. Again, shadowless. Let's see what else I've got in here. Porygon. Okay, we just got one of those. Let's see what. Oh, nice revive. I'm good with that. So we didn't get a holo. I did the patch the wrong way around. But either way, it wasn't a holo, so it doesn't really matter too much. Plus power. We're getting some good shadowless trainers in this one. Caterpie. What else have I got? Gust of Wind. I've got quite a few trainers in that. Bulbasaur. Okay. Bulbasaur and a Squirtle. Shadowless. Beautiful looking cards. All good condition. I mean, these could be a PSA 10, to be honest. Some of these are really, really immaculate condition. You know, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but they are literally really, really good. And even the back's like properly mint. So there's like no marks on there whatsoever. So yeah. So for me, so that's the risk of what you're taking with opening, opening packs. You're taking that risk that you're not definitely guaranteed a holo. You're opening 21 grams, but I'm going for shadowless, so it doesn't really matter as much to me. But at the same time, if I wasn't, then it could potentially be a problem, because if you was just hoping for a holo every time, you might not get that. Do you know what I mean? So you're dicing with it a little bit if you're not expecting to if you're expecting to get the best pull out of it. That's not the way to do it. So for me, I'm winning. I've got 2 shadowless packs, so I've got a good little store now of shadowless cards that I'm going to probably send. I'm going to have a good look at them, and what I'll do, I'll get a little I've got a little black light here. So what I'll do, I'll go over these, and then I'll basically just put on here, just show you. So before I do anything grading wise, I will literally just shine this little UV light on. I don't know if you can see that properly, but it just shows up any white dots on there, which this one hasn't got anything really. Tiny little thing in the corner. Is that a bit of dust? Not much. There's hardly anything on that. So that Bulbasaur is clean. And then you can look at the surface as well, just to see if there's any nicks or dents. But it's a clean Bulbasaur. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I've got some good cards there. I will, to offset the money obviously you spend on them, I will send those for grading. So what I'll do, I'll look through each individual one of those, see whether the centering's good, see whether they're all in good condition, and then I'll probably just grade all of them. And any that don't come back tens, if I've got doubles of them, I'll probably sell them if they come back nines, tens, and if not, I'll keep them and put them in my personal collection, because they're good to keep and they're great cards. But yeah, so for the pack there that was potential shadowless, it was shadowless. So we've got a good hit rate on the shadowless cards, and that was what's the C 06033 was the number on the back of them. They have very different numbers, but to be honest, the ones I have had shadowless have had that. The ones with different numbers, I think 128 or something like that, they wasn't. But I don't think that makes too much difference. I think it's just one of them things that there's been enough open that it's still potential shadowless. But yeah, I'm buzzing about having some shadowless cards. They're all very rare cards anyway. Big guy who ain't got a holo, but at the end of the day, I'm good with it. I'm adding to my collection. And just to recap what I've gone through is only pull stuff that you can afford to pull. So what I'll do, I'll get all them graded. I'm going to keep them anyway, but obviously what I'll do for anyone who's watching is I'll put the video out there of grading so that you could know what the packs cost overall, and then what the eventual outlay would be if you did try to say you didn't want shadowless cards. You could then potentially look at how much you lost, or how much could you break even with that. I don't think you probably would break even if you got quite a few tens, but it depends also how the grading goes as well. If they're quite strict with their vintage at the moment, it might not be a good one either. So let's see what happens. Stay tuned for that video. So anything comes from that, I'll keep you guys updated. And I'm going to do some more about collecting. I've got a vendor POV I'm going to do as well coming up. I've got a show at the end of the month, and show you a little bit more, guys, about my collection and things like that, and hopefully you see how I get on vending. I've not actually done a vending show, so it'd be a first for me. We've got some bits and pieces marketing wise, and I suppose that's the key point is, if you're heavily invested in Pokemon, doing what you're doing, and it's a business for you, really I probably shouldn't do what I do, but I kind of wanted to buy them for myself in a way. So for me, it's a personal collection thing. Got some shadowless stuff, but I'm going to do it as a bit of a test to see, can you actually grade them in this day and age? Will it make money, or how much will it lose? My expectation is you probably lose about 300-400 quid by the time you get back from grading, because they probably won't all grade as tens. They probably might even get one or two maybe out of a couple of packs I've opened. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know. And for the people who are saying how vintage is really difficult at the moment, you'll get to see from, if you watch the channel, how strict they're actually being in this day and age with like a pack fresh, good condition. They haven't got any obvious marks on them or anything like that. You'll see how difficult it's going to be, because that actually will depend in the future how difficult it's going to be actually to hold a PSA 10 in for example, like a vintage card, because that means that the vintage cards that are already graded high, if the grading from a fresh pack that's in good condition is not going to get a 10, then you know that them 10s are probably being controlled a little bit, or they're just being really strict the way they wasn't maybe before. So we'll see what happens. I would be, if out of like the last two packs I've opened that's shadowless, if they don't come back with maybe at least one or two 10s in there, or maybe three, I know that they're controlling the population. So that's for me a key point that I'd like to know myself, because obviously it makes a difference whether I'm going to open more packs like that again. If they're not going to be very good with vintage stuff going forward as a market, then it's really not going to make a lot of sense to do it. You're better off probably keeping them sealed as an antique for a very long time, which I've got some of my other ones anyway. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, stay tuned.